Checkmate. Man. Okay, for the past couple of days, I've been watching these old Holly Holm fights. And this lady is a phenom. Okay, so truthfully, before the Ronda fight, I only watched her 2 UFC fights and the 1 boxing match where she was severely knocked out. In her 2 UFC fights, I was not at all impressed. I mean, the fight that really stood out to me was the one against Raquel Pennington. And in this one, Holly, she did win by split decision victory. But I mean, Raquel looked like she was half her size. I mean, it looked like she just came up to her chest. But anyway, Raquel was able to continuously get inside on Holm. I mean, she could get inside, but she couldn't really do anything because Holm was too strong. Then Holm didn't even seem to be able to bust her up on her feet. It looked like it was truly a split decision. And during the fight, I kept hearing people say that Holly was a good potential opponent for Ronda. And I was thinking, what? If this little Raquel Pennington can get inside with ease, imagine what Ronda can do. But man, I am convinced this was the perfect setup. I mean, Holly was just playing with these other UFC girls. I think what she was doing is she was staying under the radar and hoping that the UFC would think she was an easy win for Ronda. I mean, Holly never really said too much leading up to the fight. She's always been quiet. I remember her past fight interviews. She would be like, I tried for the finish. I just couldn't get it. You know, she was the same soft-spoken lady. You know, just like leading up to this fight, she would answer questions and just say things like she was going to try her hardest. But damn, I mean, watch her old fights. Seriously, watch her old fights. The ones before the UFC. This girl was laying chicks out cold with the exact same left kick that she put Ronda out with. I mean, she was just running over girls. This had to be the perfect setup. Holly Holm trains out of Jackson Winklejohn, who has some of the best fighters on the planet. I mean, arguably the best fighter on the planet. John Jones trains out of there, Donald Cerrone. But anyway, this gym is known to have strategists as their coaches. I mean, they dissect fights, they pick up these little tells that other people, and they come up with a perfect game plan. To me, they just set the UFC up on this. I mean, even look at this picture right here from the weigh-ins. Now, when we first saw it, everyone was so hyped because of the chaos. You know, they were just like, oh man, this fight's going to be crazy. But look at this picture again. I mean, Holly is standing right there, just in the pocket, no fear, no doubt. She doesn't flinch. She's just in perfect control. She just put her fist right in Ronda's face and just stood there, didn't have a care in the world. So, I mean, man, this had to be the perfect setup. Holm's camp had to know Ronda was a manufactured champion. I think at the time, going into the fight, I believe Holly was ranked number 7. And the UFC, they probably thought this was going to be an easy fight. I mean, all the top contenders like Miesha, Tate, Nunes, they were all ready and willing to fight. They wanted that Ronda fight, but, you know, for some reason, the UFC bypassed the top contenders and gave a number 7. And, man, they have got to be regretting it. I mean, look at Dana White's face right here. This dude almost passed out right in the octagon. I mean, honestly, he probably screwed the company out of 100 to 200 million. Easy. If Ronda was going to get exposed like that, the UFC should have just done it against Cyborg. I mean, experts have been saying that a fight between Ronda and Cyborg would do 2 to 2.5 million. If Ronda and Holly Holm, who you know, Holly's relatively unknown in the UFC with just 2 fights, you know, most of the casual fans, you know, or the hardcore MMA fans don't really know her, doesn't have a huge fan base. And that fight, that, you know, they said today did well over 1 million. Imagine what a fight between Ronda and Cyborg would have done. I mean, that would have generated crazy money. On top of just them being well known, I mean, Cyborg goes in on everyone. She'll go in on the UFC. She'll go in on Dana, Ronda, even Ronda's mom. I remember Ronda's mom tried to get smart with Cyborg and sent her a tweet, and Cyborg just went right back at her. I mean, that fight would have been huge. Many thought it would have been the biggest fight, biggest pay-per-view fight in UFC history. So crazy shout-outs to Holly Holm for exposing the manufacturer champ. I mean, honestly, if Cyborg were to beat Ronda in the exact same fashion, most likely she wouldn't have got the credit, or there would have still been a doubt. They would have said Cyborg was on PEDs. I mean, in 2011 she did get caught, but I mean, even if she were to fight Ronda, you know, whatever it was last week, and tested negative, I'm sure the UFC, Ronda's mom would have all been saying she somehow was still on PEDs and that's why she won. But this fight with Ronda there was absolutely no controversy. It was a flawless victory. I mean, she won in every aspect, from the clinch to the takedowns to the obviously the striking, timing, distance. So you know, just you have to give all credit to Holly, and I'm glad it happened that way. Like I said, I would have loved to see Cyborg, but they would have came up with some excuse. Cyborg would have did the exact same thing, but probably worse. I mean, Ronda, she has no defense, man. So anyway, but with all that being said, I do hope the best for Ronda. I have to admit that I did enjoy a lot of the memes, and I did take pleasure in the fight, and I have watched a lot of these, you know, these Instagram videos and whatnot. But Ronda did make the walk to the cage and fought to the end. That's more than most people would do. So I'll give her all the respect for that. I hope if she does come back, she's not the same hateful person that she was before she got knocked out. But I mean, again, honestly, I don't know if the hatred's real or if it's contrived. Just, you know, another promotional tactic by her or the UFC to generate pay-per-view buys. But, you know, even today, people are still clowning on this girl. You know, we all saw at the airport she wouldn't even show her face. I don't know if it's because she broke her jaw and it's wired shut and she can't talk or give interviews, or if she's just embarrassed because of the loss. But in any event, at this point, man, I don't get any pleasure in seeing making fun of her, seeing people make fun of her. You know, that was a tough loss, man. Some that could be life changing. I don't know how bad how severe the damage was. But as for the UFC, I am so glad they got exposed. They fooled damn near every major media outlet in existence. I mean, they even had Joe Rogan saying things like, "Once in a lifetime" does not apply to Ronda Rousey. It's once every in human history. I mean, that's the exact quote. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? What? I mean, the propaganda with this promotion. But anyway, much congrats to Holm and Jackson Winklejohn for the perfect setup. That was a checkmate.